Shameless. United in the Europa League. Europa League.
Manchester United 4, Real Betis 1. I'm here today in the afternoon, cold as ever today, Charlie. Well, what do you think about that game? First half interesting, second half where the goals came. How do you feel about this match?
Yeah, it's great to get back on track as such after the result at Anfield. Delighted to obviously get the 4-1, a good 3-goal advantage going into the second leg.
Yep.
First half, Dalot nearly scored an own goal.
Yeah,
and then we obviously went down the other end, and Rashford just delayed his shot a little bit, took it around the defender, great finish. And then obviously they get the equaliser, and then we're a bit nervous going into half time. But look, this team, as I said, we score more goals in the second half. We find a way at home. We tend to score a lot of goals at home. So yeah, delighted. We see the subs again making a massive impact. Palistri in particular.
Yeah.
And Malacia as well. So
after the first half, was thinking to myself, a bit sketchy, 1-1 going in. Rashford scores early. What do you think about Fred's performance in that first half and then in the second half as well?
A little bit shaky again from Fred. I think we know that we miss Eriksen in certain games when we're going to have more possession, when we need to dominate the ball. We're going to dominate the ball in our final third.
Controlling games.
And controlling a bit of guile. And it also takes the burden off Bruno a bit, because Eriksen with his chance creation. So when we do have Fred, and I think Fred actually today, he played as the highest of our midfield three at times. Bruno was playing really deep and he was covering for Wan-Bissaka at right back when he was going forward. He was playing really deep. So Ten Hag, we know he doesn't really trust Fred towards our own goal, so he's pushing him up obviously with his pressing. We know that's what Fred's really good at.
What do you think about Bruno dropping so deep? Did you think that was a tactic, or did you think that was a bit of confidence issue, lack of creativity in the first half? Or
no, I think that might have been a tactical thing, because particularly in the second half as well, you saw him when Wan-Bissaka was going forward, Bruno was dropping in at right back at times.
Yeah.
And it was quite interesting. I think maybe for Bruno's work rate on that side, maybe he was worried about Betis's left winger. I think he was quite direct at times, so maybe that. But also, as I said, he doesn't like Fred too much towards our own goal because he's not too comfortable under pressure. So put Fred higher up the pitch, counter press, do all that, and we'll have Bruno a little bit deeper where he can sort of dictate a little bit more. And I thought Bruno was one of our best performers, particularly in the second half, driving, even carrying the ball. He doesn't normally do that, but he was driving through quite nicely. So yeah, top from Bruno, but I think it was tactical.
Got his goal today as well, which was really good to see. Talk to me a bit about that defensive line. We saw in the first half David De Gea, a few misplaced passes. How do you feel about his game today?
Yeah, really poor. I'm like you. I'm an advocate of sort of getting a new goalkeeper in the summer. That's not to say he isn't a club. I think he's a club legend. I've got a lot of respect for De Gea, a lot of time for him as a professional. Yeah. But I think because as a team we want to dominate more possession, and we're going to start conceding when we get further in the process. We're going to start conceding fewer chances. We need a goalkeeper that's better on the ball rather than with his shot stopping. And also, we know that the biggest weakness in this Ten Hag system against us is probably transitions, because of how sort of bold we want to be with our shape. We've seen 3-2-5, 2-3-5, even a 3-1-6 formation at times. So many players forward. So we need a sweeper when that border's going behind on the counter. And he sweeped once in the second half, I think, but we need it more consistently, and we need a goalkeeper who's more comfortable and natural in doing that. So yeah, poor today, but I think we've seen some reports that we might be going for a new keeper, so hopefully we'll address that in the summer. Wingers
contributed heavily today. I mean, Anthony's performance. How do you think about Anthony's performance and Palistri? Palistri today. Talk to me about him.
Yeah, Anthony, trademark goal. We know that's his trademark goal. Maybe he does it a few too many times, but trademark goal for him today. And actually, I thought when he went onto the left-hand side in the first half for a few minutes, we created some chances for Weghorst. And when Palistri came on in the second half, a right-footed player on the right-hand side, we're getting more crosses and cutbacks into the area. So when you've got inverted wingers and you try and cross the ball in, as a defender, the ball's coming towards you, so it's easier to just clear it away. Yeah. Whereas if you're playing with left-footed players on the left and right-footed players on the right, when the cross is going in, it's much harder to defend against because you're on the side turn. It's very difficult to defend against, much more difficult. So I think that might be something to look at maybe for the future. Maybe Anthony just exchanging with whoever's on the left a little bit more, give him a bit of time on the left. He put 2 great crosses in across towards Weghorst, and then Pellistri, that explosive pace. We haven't got a player that can play on the right that can do that, I don't think. So great for Ten Hag to have those options, but I think that's something to look at, to get those cutbacks and crosses across goal.
I mean, just on that, you know, a really good point. I think Wan-Bissaka had 2 opportunities, cutback crosses. Anthony, like you're saying, on the left side, like you're saying, Charlie, 2 great, you know, crosses, just angling into those spaces.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think overall in terms of, you know, 4 goals scored today in comparison to obviously the poor performance the last week? I don't want to speak too much on that. How do you think this, you know, bodes well for us going into the next fixture next week?
Yeah, definitely. I think we know Ten Hag doesn't like rotation too much, but a 3-goal advantage, away goals don't count. So, you know, their away goal doesn't really count. So it's basically 3-0. And we know we've got a lot of fixtures coming up. But I expect Ten Hag to still play a reasonably strong team, maybe rest 1 or 2, and then take players off after 45 an hour once we've hopefully no sort of incredible result happens for them. Hopefully we manage the game well. But yeah, I trust Ten Hag with his rotation. I thought today he managed the game well again with his subs that came on. You know, Shaw needed a rest. We know he's a massive player for us despite his poor performance at the weekend. Malacia came on and made an impact. So I trust him with his subs and with his changes between games as well.
Weghorst got his goal, second penultimately. Weghorst got his goal. What do you think about that? Had a couple other chances as well. Yeah,
he should really have had maybe a hat-trick today. But again, how many times did he win the ball back in the first half? I mean, pressing back. His pressing from the front's quite good, but he presses back. So imagine you're a defensive midfield player with your back to goal and you've got the ball. You don't know Weghorst is behind you and he robs the ball off you. So that really helps us regain possession. And then obviously his goal all came from his chances. I think in the first half, the 2 Anthony crosses, one of them went into Weghorst, I think, or one of them from Shaw. But Weghorst is getting more chances when we get more creative wide players. You know, with Rashford, I love Rashford and he's scoring loads and loads of goals. But when Rashford's on the left and Weghorst is a striker, Rashford is not a creative wide player. I think he's got quite a few assists this season because he's just so direct. You know, he's in the box so much and he might have He's committing players, but he doesn't create in terms of his crossing.
Yes.
Whereas when we have Anthony, Pellistri or Sancho, when we get Shaw with his sort of overlapping, that's when Weghorst gets his chances. So delighted for him though. You could see how much it meant to him. I celebrated that goal the most out of the 4. It's brilliant, brilliant.
Man of the match, lastly, Charlie.
I'd probably say Bruno Fernandes today. Yeah, I'd probably say Bruno Fernandes. But Pellistri, Malacia were really good when they came on as well.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, mate.